there, Rem PCs. Welcome to Rules of Cool, where we interview very special guests, creators, gamers, designers, and world builders. I'm your host, Rem Alternis, and today we're going to talk with one of our awesome cast members from Emerald Glitch, Jen Pauley. Jen is a gamer, cosplayer, crafter, and the brilliant owner of the Geek Forge shop on Etsy. And then stay tuned because up next at 6 p.m. PST is the next episode of Shadowrun 6th World Emerald Glitch. Now time to get right into our conversation for this week. So stay tuned, Rem PCs. Hey everyone, welcome back. I am here today with Jen Pauley from our very own Shadowrun 6th World Emerald Glitch. And I'm really excited to talk today with Jen about her business, the Geek Forge. So Jen, why don't you introduce yourself? Who are you and what is the Geek Forge?
Yeah, thanks for having me, Sarah. I'm super excited to be here. So I'm Jen, and I founded the Geek Forge with my partner, Brian Eason, about 10 years ago. So what happened was I was working in corporate America and needed a creative outlet. And I started doing some crafting, and I've got a history in art and theater and was really missing some of that performance aspect that I just wasn't getting in day-to-day normal life. So I started making some fun crafts, and then it started taking up room in the house. And then we thought, well, maybe some other people would like these crafts. And so I started making ties and purses out of geeky fabrics. And then that sort of snowballed. We went to some conventions. I went and saw a couple of space launches for some satellites and rockets, because that's always something I've wanted to do. And we were able to do some interviews with some cool people at Dragon Con and MomoCon. And we've now evolved into sort of a cosplay accessory brand and building things to help people get that perfect touch on their cosplay and that piece they didn't even know was missing.
That's awesome. So where did the idea for the name of the Geek Forge and your wonderful logo happen?
So the idea for the name was that we were looking for something that I am, of course, want to change my mind, as that is my prerogative as a human person. And so we were looking for something that was all encompassing. So if I didn't stay like making bow ties and things like that, and I wanted to move on to something else, I wouldn't have to change the name. And we figured anything that I was going to make was going to have some sort of geeky influence to it anyway. So we might as well look at things that where you create geek stuff. And so that is where the Geek Forge name came from. Our logo was I do great with 3-dimensional objects. I do not do great with 2-dimensional objects like drawing. So I drew a really rough sketch of what I was thinking of. And so the space princess is supposed to be me, and the superhero is supposed to be Eason. And then the velociraptor is a friend of ours who also helped us out at the very beginning. And so I sent this very bad sketch to a designer friend of mine, and she was able to turn it into a beautiful logo and find a perfect font and great color scheme for us. And we've been using it ever since.
I love that. I wish any of my friends would consider me their friendly raptor. That's a compliment. So how did you get into, let's start with gaming. How did you get into gaming?
So the gaming history is interesting. It's not the normal pathway that most people take. So I had never really gamed before college. And I got to school and I met some folks through the fencing club because, of course, yes, Sarah and I, we are fencing babes together. And so one of my new friends was like, hey, I have this game that I go into the woods and play, and there's sword fighting. I bet you'd like it. And I went to a LARP, and I LARPed for about, I don't know, 3 or 4 years before I finally tried tabletop gaming. And my first tabletop gaming experience was not great. It was D&D, and I just didn't have any fun with it. And went, I'm never tabletopping again. This is terrible. And so then after I graduated from college, a friend of mine went, okay, I know you don't like tabletop, but hear me out. There's this game. It's called Earth Dawn, and it's like D&D, but better because it's got a lot of cooler stuff in it. And so I say that Earth Dawn is my first tabletop experience in like 2005. And then played some Vampire, and then was introduced to Shadowrun through the idea that, hey, you like dystopian futures, so you also like this Earth Dawn. What if I told you these are together? And I went, go on, tell me more.
I love it. So is that kind of your origin story as well for cosplaying then, is getting into LARP, or did that start a different way?
So it's kind of all woven together. So I went to Dragon Con for the first time in 2012, and I had never been to a convention before. And I was helping some friends put together their costumes because I have the theater experience and the sewing experience. And they were all doing costumes of their tabletop Shadowrun characters, which I was not playing in at the time, but I came over after game to help them sew stuff. And so we all went to this con together, and I was supposed to go with someone to do a big photo shoot of Victorian era superheroes, where you take your superhero, you put this Victorian spin on it.
Cool.
But everybody bailed on the shoot. So it was just me showing up, and I went, well, I know enough about this character to know what it looks like, but I don't really know anything else about these here superheroes. And so I was really bummed. And so a friend of mine, she said, hey, we're going to go. We talked to these guys that run the Shadowrun thing, these Catalyst Game Lab guys, and they want to take some pictures. So why don't you come hang out with us? And I went, okay. So I took some socks, some stripy socks that I had, and I cut the toes out to make myself the arm things, and used my boots from the failed costume earlier, and had elf ears in my bag because I was still LARPing. So of course I had elf ears in my bag. Why wouldn't I? And a friend of mine had an extra tack vest, and we just threw together a costume for a character that I had never even played, for a system I hadn't even read about. And so there's a picture of me from Dragon Con where I have a big green A with a circle around it on my arm and my elf ears, and I was this ancient go-ganger. And then the next week I started playing the Shadowrun game, and basically it was Johnny Mnemonic without having ever actually seen that film. So that's my cosplay origin story.
So got into cosplay without even playing a character that you loved and adored.
Yep, and just pieced together stuff that I already had in my suitcase. I think
awesome.
I put about 20 minutes into it to get something together.
Oh, that's so funny. Well, and Jen, you and I actually met through that same crowd with Catalyst Game Labs. And we were brought on a call with their art director at the time, Brent, and he wanted to talk to us about cosplaying and Shadowrun and stuff like that, and some ideas he had. And so later, when I put together Rem's streaming, we were starting to get a streaming plan together, and I was like, I want more nerdy women. I was like, hey, I know a cosplayer, and it might be really cool to have some of that energy on a stream. And so that's how Jen came to be with Rem, which I love. So let's talk a little bit more about Geek Forge. What are your most popular items that you sell?
So right now, our most popular item is definitely our cosplay fire prop. It is an all fabric costume piece. It's a handheld flame with an LED light in the middle of it. So they come in about 12 different colors, and the fabric has a wire in it so it can be posable. So you can get it to look exactly the way you want to. And then it looks really great in con pictures. And it's just a really nice touch when you're walking around the floor. And so you've got lots of Wandas and lots of Lokis, and a lot of Sailor Moon is a really popular choice for it. And so it's a wide range. And I love getting the pictures back of folks. I had one woman and her daughter was doing Dark Phoenix, and it was the littlest, cutest Dark Phoenix with these little flame fire props in her hands, and she just looked incredibly adorable. So
Aww.
that's our biggest seller, followed closely behind by our patches. So
awesome. Yeah, I know you just did a poll recently for a patch that's coming up next. What one is that?
So this is actually our big product launch announcement. We saved it for this fun show. And so we are announcing today that we have launched our toxic patch line. They are biohazard patches, and they are in fact, I am publishing the listings to our Etsy store right now. So they are officially going live at 7:14 p.m. Eastern time.
Where do you go? Where is the Geek Forge's website so they can go right now and be the first to see it?
Go right now and be the first to see it. It's the geekforge.etsy.com. And
that's so cool.
Yeah, so they are biohazard symbols. They look, let me get one that's not green.
Ooh.
So we have 5 in bright fun colors, and we have 5 that glow in the dark.
Ooh.
So
I like glowing in the dark.
Yeah, so they're patches that are blue and red and neon yellow, and then they glow in the dark as well.
Oh,
so that's
so
half
cool.
of them, and the other half are just regular. If you don't, I don't know why you wouldn't want to glow in the dark, but I'm here for all these things.
Excellent. I mean, if you want to be biohazardous while being sneaky, probably best not to glow where your enemies can see you.
Yeah, and I'm here to supply biohazard patches for both of those occasions.
Excellent. Oh, I love that. Yeah, Jen's patches are amazing. There is also, for those of you who follow our Shadowrun stream that is on Tuesdays on Rem Alternis's Twitch channel. It's www.twitch.tv/Master of Rem. Jen plays there and has been playing Gertrude, but there's a Darcy patch, right? Or is there? Yes.
And the Darcy patch was designed by our player Amber.
Oh, neat. So you can support Jen through her store and Amber through her design. That's really nice. I like that a lot. We know such talented people. That's amazing. So I want to talk a little bit about, well, first of all, I want to kind of circle to another product that has been playing around on our screen here. Not only do you do the fire prop, not only do you do the patches, but another popular item is your potion bottle, which is my favorite, by the way. Ooh, look at that, everyone. That is cool. So potion bottles, those come in a variety of colors too, right?
Yes, they come in also 10 different colors, and we have 2 different options. So this is actually a redesign of our original potion bottles. So initially they were clear bottles with colored lights, and we found that the lights weren't lasting as long as we wanted to with battery life and things like that. And the batteries were hard to find. So I went through and did a redesign. So now the bottles are colored, and we have 2 options of lights. We've got one that is USB rechargeable, and then another one that takes 1 AAA battery.
Ooh.
And so they last longer. And so this one is the USB rechargeable one.
Ooh.
And the USB is right here in the
magic cord. Look at that. Oh, I love that. I have one of the old designs. So when you start going to cons again, I'm gonna have to pick up a newly refurbished potion.
Absolutely. Yeah.
For myself. I think I have the blue one because I like restoring my mana because I'm a caster. So
absolutely.
I might need a red one for like a health potion. And excellent. So the reason we're showing those potion bottles, and especially the green one on our slideshow here, is that as our audience knows, every week we do a giveaway by typing hashtag RemPC in the chat. You can enter for free to win. And this week we're giving away this potion bottle. So if you want a glowing potion bottle of your very own, please type in hashtag RemPC in the chat. You can get bonus entries to win as well by going to our fundraiser page, which is remalternis.com/nuyen, or to our Patreon, which is the best deal to get more entries to win. And that's at patreon.com/remalternis. So lots of ways to get entries to win a potion bottle, which I wish I was included in, but I exclude myself from winning these. I will pay to support my friend Jen. Excellent. So yes, type hashtag RemPC in the chat. Thank you, Riapel, for getting that started. So I want to talk a little bit more about the business side of what you do, because you said like this started as a creative outlet and a passion project, but turning it into a business isn't always fun. That's not always the fun part. But how do you recommend growing your customer base to other creators that are doing similar like crafty items to give away?
Yeah, absolutely. So there are a couple of things that really helped me to grow my customer base was definitely getting out there in person, going to craft fairs, going to cons, and just getting out and meeting people. I'm actually a pretty introverted person, which may surprise you because I'm on screen all the time. But it's sometimes difficult for me to approach people and be like, hey, buy my stuff. So it helps that I have a fantastic partner who is an amazing salesman and can really call people over and get them excited about what we're doing. The other thing, if you are not able to go out and do those sorts of things, I really recommend, it's going to sound really old school, but I really recommend an email list, because those are the people that want to be there. They want to know what you have to say, and they're invested in your success. So if you can send emails out to folks and they can tell their friends about it. Social media, if you're good at that, I am not great at it, but there's always something fun to learn. So, and finding people who like the things that you like, or they always talk about identifying your target customer. And once you figure out who you're actually making things for, because I'm not necessarily my own target customer. I like the things that I make and I would totally wear them, but I'm also looking to provide a service for people. So that's why I focus on the cosplay accessories, people who maybe don't have the ability or the time to make these things themselves and say, hey, look, I made this for you and it's going to be perfect. So those are my big three things to look at.
Yeah, I'll echo that. There's definitely always a lot social media can do, and we're still learning about all the ways to grow based on that. But mailing lists, as old school as it sounds, like that is in every book about crowdfunding, about Kickstarters, about marketing. Like these are the people who have, it's not just that they've seen it and kept scrolling or seen it and liked it and kept scrolling, but these are the people who have actually taken the energy to opt into your mailing list. And so they've already opted into you. So the fact that they care that much, I mean, how many of us expend that energy and want another email showing up?
Right.
So those are definitely important to have on your listing.
I used to worry that I was bothering people by sending them emails until a friend of mine pointed out and said, these people chose you. They want you to tell them what you're doing, what you're selling, or what you're writing about, or whatever it is you're doing, that this is the audience that picked you. You didn't pick them. And that really helped me get over that kind of block of, I don't want to bother people by sending emails that they're just going to delete, because no, they care.
That's really nice. I like that way of thinking about it. Cool. So what are some of the challenges of owning and growing your own geeky business?
There is a lot to learn. My background is in theater and art. I don't have a background in business. And so learning a lot of business things like taxes or how to maintain your books or how to do pricing, how to do marketing, all these sorts of things that are sometimes the less fun things of business, but I really like spreadsheets. So once I got my brain around the finance part of it, that became fun for me that I could make pretty pictures with my data. So that's definitely a challenge. There's also a little bit of a barrier to entry from a gender perspective sometimes. We have had scenarios where people thought that my partner was the business owner and having to gently correct people that I am the woman in the chair. And so that's a little bit less these days, but also we're not in the public space in person as much right now. So maybe that's just my exposure to it is less.
Yeah. Yeah. That's definitely rough. And I'm sorry you've had that experience. I think I've been lucky in that the people that our community has attracted are good people that haven't haven't, or at least I'm oblivious to it if they have. But yeah, that's it's definitely a challenge, and it's we did that women in business panel, and being able to support women owners, women CEOs, women founders, women creators, and other minorities as well, I think is super important. So yeah, thank you for sharing that kind of experience. So kind of based on those challenges, what do you wish you had known back in the beginning of setting all of this up?
I definitely wish that I had known the amount of time that it was going to take to really get things started. So making the stuff that's fun, I had a great time doing it, but doing things like learning how to optimize my SEO for Etsy so that people could find me when I was putting things out there. Understanding that just because you build it doesn't mean they'll come. The internet's a big place. And so those sorts of things, that understanding the amount of time that it's going to take. And it's okay if you don't want to put the time in. It's okay if what you make is just stuff you make and give to your friends. Your hobby doesn't have to become your business. And there's a lot of pressure, especially if you're creative and making things, that there's a lot of external pressure to sell things. And you don't have to. You can just make it for you, and your friends just get cool Christmas gifts every year. So those were the two things that I felt like I had to sell. And I really enjoy the selling aspect and meeting new people and going fun places and making people happy, knowing that they've got a piece of my art in their lives is really fulfilling to me. But I know that that's not for everybody.
Yeah. Yeah. There's a lot more to it than you think there is when you're just like, I have an idea. An idea is so fast to come up with. But executing on that, I know that there have been other streamers, podcasters, game developers that have come to me and been like, hey, I want to start my own thing. What are the steps to do it? And I'm like, okay, the first thing I'm going to ask you, and I don't mean this to be negative at all, but are you sure? Are you sure you don't want to just tag on to someone who's already built a community, that's already put this kind of work in? Like, because there's always people looking to expand and partner and stuff like that. And finding people with the skills you don't have and the interests you don't have to get some of that done has definitely been helpful for me. But I can definitely feel that there's a lot in the beginning to get it up and off the ground, and a lot of support where I think, honestly, Rem wouldn't be where it is without the help of everyone that has contributed. So neat. So what other items or ideas are in development, Jen?
So I have a few because, of course, as you said, ideas are easy and ideas are fast. So I do have a concept for a cosplay digital planner that will include things that you would need for like a checklist, way to keep your sources straight of like what you're spending and that sort of thing, and how to track your changes. When I do, because I do commissions for costumes, I have a couple of open slots every year. And so one of the things that I do when I'm doing a commission is that I will actually, I'm going to say draw, but I don't actually draw. I take somebody else's outline and put clothes on top of it. Um, but that I use that as my jumping off point so that I get an idea in my head of what it's going to look like. So being able to sort of provide my process for someone else who might be trying to figure out how to do it is something that's really appealing to me. And so I've got that. I have some ideas for expanding and maybe doing some sort of headgear to go with our fire props, crowns or something like that. That's still in my brain, baking in the background there. Neat. And maybe some magic wands sometime in the future, or staffs if I can figure out how to get them shippable.
Ooh, yeah, shippable. That's a whole nother undertaking. I like the idea of wands though, and especially what you've been able to do with the fire props and with the potion bottles and stuff. I'm sure whatever you came up with would be a creative way to look at it, and a really neat prop to have. Cool. So if time or money were no object whatsoever, what is the ideal vision for the Geek Forge? Like, this can be your full-time thing, and what are you going to do with it?
If this could be a full-time thing for me, I would do a lot more commission work, would do a lot more, full costumes and things like that, and really be able to do a lot of prototyping and a lot of development for things that I feel like I could expand on or improve on. I'm always looking for ways to make my things better. So like I'd like to also someday expand my horn line. If you watch the Shadowrun streams from last season on Tuesday nights, the horns that I wear for Gertrude, my troll character, are made out of EVA foam. So they're very lightweight. And so I'd like to expand that line. And basically I have more ideas than I have time for things that I want to do. And
creator troubles.
Right? Yeah. Each custom costume that I make takes anywhere from 20 to 80 hours on average. So if I was able to do it full time, then I could knock that out in a month or 2 months, instead of right now where my current turnaround time is 3 to 4 months to get something really complicated. I saw someone in the chat mention that a couple of years ago, I made a historically accurate 18th century bell dress from Beauty and the Beast, based off the artwork of Claire Shumla. And she's fantastic if you have not seen her artwork. But that dress took me 4.5 months to make.
Wow.
Because of the amount of time that I had free to work on this. Or it probably would have taken me half the time if I had all day to do it. Right.
Wow. Neato. What is your favorite cosplay that you've built? My dogs see themselves on the Twitch and are upset about the dogs on Twitch. So that is what is happening in my living room right now. It's hard for me to pick a favorite. The bell dress is definitely one of my favorites because it's the most complicated thing that I've made to date. But I also did a Scandal Savage costume where I thrifted just about everything. And I took a black vest and made it a crop vest and put some Warbler, which is a type of plastic that has a low melting point, and attached it to the bottom and made some arm guards out of child shin guards, and glued some stuff onto some leather pants that already existed. Moonstone was a lot of fun. Mr. Vines in the chat is reminding me I do love my evil psychologist supervillains.
And that is, I can't really tell you why. I just think it's a great, especially if they're evil female psychologist supervillains. It's a very small niche. There's like 4 of them. So, so that was fun. With Moonstone, I learned fiberglassing because I made the helmet out of fiberglass and used Pepakura, which is a paper art form, to fold it all together for the base and then covered it with fiberglass to make it hard. And one of my favorite commissions that I did was a Nausicaa costume. And that was, again, it was a movie I had never seen. And I know I'm a bad nerd, but so the research part is fun when I get some of these commissions so with Nausicaa, oh no, I had to watch a movie. That's a wonderful movie. Oh no. And I did one that was based off a video game whose name I can't recall right now. That was like a Victorian style doll kind of thing, and had to learn how to dye lace gloves to get the right color. Ooh. So every time I do a costume, I learn something new, which is really, really what I like about it. So my first costume was thrown together in 20 minutes. And then the year after that, we did Deathstroke. Ooh. And I had just learned like who George Perez was, and he just recently passed away, which is very sad. And I actually got to meet him in my Deathstroke costume. And so he came up to me and we took and he said, "Hey, can I get a picture?" And I said, "Sure." And my partner leaned over and he said, "Honey, that's George Perez." And I went, "Oh no, I'm so excited." So we took a picture, and then he looked at me and said, "You know, when I drew Deathstroke, one of his eyes was open. So if you want to take that netting off of one of your eyes so you can see, it's okay by me." So when you get costume notes from the person who invented the character and drew it, then like that's peak. I can't do any better than that.
That's awesome. Oh, I love that. Neato. I know I was friends with you by the time you started doing the Marvin the Martian cosplay.
Yes.
What was that like?
Oh, that was a real challenge. That was basically my pandemic project. So a customer wanted me to make her a Marvin the Martian costume, but she wanted it in sort of a mascot kind of style. So it was a large head, oversized gloves, oversized shoes. So I went through 3 versions of the helmet. I painted it with house paint to get the right color so that it would stand up to being outside in the elements, and lots of coats of high gloss to protect it. And the helmet ended up being about this big.
Oh, wow.
And then because I am me, that we made the eyes light up with EL panels, and I made them magnetic so she could swap out facial expressions. So she had 4 sets of facial expressions on the eyes, and she could just swap them out with the magnets.
Oh, that's so clever.
And the gloves were, I bought some inexpensive regular white gloves and then made the oversized 3-finger gloves so that when she puts the gloves on, she's wearing regular gloves, but then it's oversized so that she can still use her hands. I mean, she can't use her hands for anything, but that, waving to the kids and stuff like that. She does a lot of charity work and goes to children's hospitals. So we wanted to make sure that it was approachable for the kids.
Oh, that's really neat. I like that a lot.
Yeah, that was a very fun project. And recently I did for a friend, the Red Bull from Never Ending Story. It's another one I haven't seen. Last Unicorn. That's it. Last Unicorn. I have seen that one, but it's been recent, and so it did not affect my childhood at all. So, and so she was going to Dragon Con, and she wanted a purse for her costume. So I made her a Red Bull head out of foam, and again, got to put something glowy in there so the eyes light up. and I made that by making a positive mold of it first out of clay. So I sculpted this head and then put the foam on top of it so that it could be hollow inside.
Oh, that's
because
so neat.
trying to figure out how to do these things is always some sort of challenge. And I'm sure I overcomplicate it, but I always like to learn. So
Yeah, definitely. Well, that's fascinating. I really like the thought that goes into it and making it easy to use, accessible, durable, and glowy. Uh, but the facial expressions or the eyeball expressions for Marvin really gets me. Like that is a detail that I think is super clever and really brings it to a different level. So that's neat. Oh, how nice. Welcome to the chat, those who have just joined us. I'm here with Jen Pauley from the Geek Forge, talking about cosplays that she's built and running a business and running a nerdy business by a woman and all kinds of stuff. One of our very special things happening on the stream is we have a slideshow here of a potion bottle that glows, and we're doing a giveaway for it right here on stream. So you get a free entry just for typing in a hashtag RemPC in the chat. And you could be the lucky winner that receives this very bottle. And you can also, if you are so inclined and you really, really want the bottle, you can also go to remalternis.com/Nguyen for extra chances to win, or patreon.com/Rem Alternis, which has the most bang for your buck in terms of the giveaways that we do each and every week right here on stream. So thank you again for your generous donation to tonight's giveaway, Jen.
absolutely.
So we have about 10 minutes left. Are there any, like, what is your favorite gaming story or LARPing story or story about the Geek Forge and conventions? Like you pick your poison, your green poison bottle this time.
Oh, let's see. There are lots of fun stories. So, my favorite cosplay story, I have two. I have two favorite cosplay stories. So, the first one was when I was wearing my bell dress. Some friends of mine were also doing historically accurate Disney princesses. So, we had a Cinderella and we had a Jasmine. And so, we were going to meet up and take some pictures. So, if you've never been to Dragon Con, it is 4 hotels in downtown Atlanta and 90,000 of your closest nerdy friends just running around doing nerdy geeky stuff. So there is a hotel, the Marriott, that is known for some of its great photographs. So we were crossing the main area of the Marriott and ran into another friend of mine who was also doing Belle in the classic Disney version. So we stopped and we're getting some pictures, and all of a sudden there are 14 Disney princesses that have just grown into this group photo shoot for no apparent reason. And so my partner is over there. He's doing Prince Adam, which is the name of the beast. There's your Disney trivia for the day. And a little girl ran up to me and looked at me and gave me the biggest hug and just said, "I'm going to your house next week." And I went, "Oh my goodness, that's so wonderful." And her mom leaned over and said, "We're going to Disney." And so I smiled and waved and said, "Well, I will see you there."
Aww.
And so that was great. The other great kid story is I was dressed as Spider-Man from the animated series. And my partner was dressed as Venom. And we were walking down the street on Saturday morning. My preference is to do kid-friendly costumes on Saturdays at Dragon Con, because that's when the families come out for the parade. And, you know, it's a great day for the kids. And so we were walking down the street, one of the many peach trees. And this kid ran up to me and he gave me a high five and he said, "Spider-Man, you're my favorite." And I went, "You're my favorite kid, stay in school." And he put his hands on his hips. He said, "I will now." And so I hope that wasn't actually that child staying in school. But if it is, then I'm glad that Spider-Man was there to tell him to stay in school.
I love kids stories when it comes to, that was when I realized I wanted to be an actor. I worked for Great Lakes Medieval Festival in Geneva, Ohio. And I played a tree fairy, and I was in the final joust, and, you know, everyone fights and then makes up at the end because that's what happens. Well, during the joust, I got beat up by the blacksmith and knocked out. And then after the joust, I'm fine. I get back up. We're all friends again. And it's my turn to go watch Fairyland. So I'm over there and this little girl comes up, hugs my legs, and she's in tears. And I look at her mom and she's like, she saw you get hurt at the joust. And I'm like, well, this feels real good. So I was like, I want to keep doing this. Go ahead.
Oh, no, I was going to agree with you. One of my first jobs at college was for a touring children's theater company. And just what you're saying, the interaction with the kids and being able to bring art to life for them is so rewarding, and it's so much fun. And it's one of the biggest things that I've missed during the lockdown, was not being able to do that. So I'm looking forward to being able to get out there and entertain children for free again.
Love that. Oh, that's so awesome. What is your favorite convention from the pre-COVID days?
The Dragon Con is always a good time. And I like Gen Con for totally different reasons, because you get to do gaming with your friends. It's more, I don't want to say relaxed, but it's totally different vibe. We like to call Dragon Con nerdy gras. It's definitely a party atmosphere with all of your nerd friends, and getting to see the people that I only get to see once or twice a year is always a great time. And there's so much cool stuff to do and to look at. And like Gen Con, we spent 1 year just playtesting games. Like that's all we did, was go around and try new games to see what we liked. And so they're just totally, why'd you make me pick? I can't pick.
I like that a lot. I know your next year is your year to go back. But for those who are used to tuning in now every week and seeing Jen and I play Shadowrun, which is coming up right after this, I'll be at Origins Game Fair in a couple weeks, and I'll be at Gen Con this year. I'm really excited. We have a booth at Origins. We're going to be at 525. So come say hello, and I'll be there for a lot of it when I'm not walking around. But Jen, it's always just wonderful and easy to talk to you. We're getting down to the last few minutes. So why don't you tell us, where can we find you? Where can we follow you? Where can we opt into your mailing list? Where do we go?
Yeah, so we are on social media as the Geek Forge, except for Instagram, where we're Geek Forge, because I messed that up. And I was the Geek Forge, and then I closed the account, and they won't let you reopen accounts on Instagram when you close them.
Oops.
So, oops, that's, sometimes you got to plan ahead. So that's, so we're on Facebook, we're on Instagram, we're on Twitter, we're on TikTok, which is a lot of fun. And so we have our Etsy shop, which is thegeekforge.etsy.com. And there is a link in our Etsy store for where you can sign up for our mailing list. And if you sign up for the mailing list, you get 30% off of your purchase, which includes brand new release products like the Biohazard patch line. So that's always fun.
Yes, please.
And we have a standalone website, which is thegeekforge.org, where we do blog posts. We do have a web store there as well, if you want to support us directly instead of going through Etsy. And we are just finishing up. We had a series on Asian American and Pacific Island comic creators and writers and artists. And next month, we are going to do a series on queer comics, queer comic creators, and queer-friendly comic books. And we're going to break that up. We've got 10 of each across the 30 days of June. And we're trying to do more of that to feature, because our focus is on comics, to feature these very special people in comics. So we're already working on one for Women's History Month and working on one for Black History Month. And usually in February, we do like to feature our friends over at Cosplay Your Way, which is a great Black and people of color organization that features fantastic cosplayers who are going to be at MomoCon this weekend. If anyone's going to be in the Atlanta area, you should go check out their panels because they're wonderful. So there's lots of stuff going on, and we try and not email you too much. I'm still working on it. So yeah, and we do have a Facebook group if you'd like to join it, which is called The Forge, which you can find on our Facebook page. So that's where we had our poll, and our members decided that they wanted our patches sooner rather than later. So they got to pick what was coming up next.
That's awesome. Yeah, I'm part of that group. I saw that. I didn't vote because I wanted to leave it for other people. I voted for the other option. So
well, it's still coming, just not today.
Good, fair enough. Yeah, and those who have just joined us, the biohazard patches just launched today, and in fact, right during this stream. So if you go to, what is it, thegeekforge.etsy.org?
Thegeekforge.etsy.com. They're currently listed on our Etsy store.
So you can go there, and it's only been hosted for about 34 minutes. So you get to be the first to see them, the first to view them, the first to order them, which is super exciting. I'm so glad you did that with us, Jen.
And it was super fun.
One more time, can you show the potion bottle that that people can enter to win right now by typing #RemPC in the chat?
This is the unlit version.
The unlit. Can we light it?
Yep.
On stream lighting. Ooh. I love that. I love these bottles. I have one of my own of the older version, and I love it. So I can vouch for Jen's work. Really great stuff, really great products, really great human. So please, if you are looking for cosplay items or items even just to have around the apartment or the house for D&D decor, that's the word, then go support Jen. She's an awesome human and we love her and she does amazing stuff. I'm playing tug of war with the dog, and we will be back shortly for Shadowrun Emerald Glitch with Jen. So we're going to go ahead and get ready to wrap up. Thank you so much for joining me today, Jen.
Thank you so much for having me. It's been a blast. And chat, I see you and I thank you. Y'all are super sweet in there. Shout out to my nephew who signed on to hang out.
Oh, that's so cute.
And maybe my parents.
Hi, nephew and parents.
Gotta take that chance.
I love it. Thank you so much, Jen. And I'm excited to see you continue to rock it and grow Geek Forge.
Thank you so much.
Up next is the next episode of Shadowrun 6th World Emerald Glitch. In the shadows, yesterday's opponents could be today's employer. Our runners have found themselves working for the Decker they defeated in the case of the beleaguered professor, who claims to be trying to find his missing technomancer sister. What dark corporate things did she stumble into? Did someone turn her in for the bounty? Or is this an elaborate ploy to keep our runners busy around town while setting them up for revenge? Join us for the case of the glitchy technomancer coming up next. And don't forget to get your free entry to win a Geek Forge potion bottle by typing #RemPC in the chat. You can get additional entries to win by going to our donation page, www.remalternis.com/newyen, or www.patreon.com/remalternis. What's my name? All donations help us to pay our cast and crew and keep producing content. And our biggest donors can have a message read at the end of the episode by the cast member of their choice. So check it out. Thank you all for joining, and we'll see you next time, where we will talk with distinguished game creator and developer Kenneth Haidt as we talk about his career and favorite projects. Later, RemPCs.